Okay. Yeah, Tejasvi, I see you. I was wondering who it was. I don't know. Just this morning, I thought, why not connect with those who are interested today and have a short chat while we are on it, and maybe some people can benefit. And it will be also live on Facebook. I'm just connecting. I was with Kaustu, who was celebrating his father's birthday today, and they released a new version of the Yoga Sutras. So I was with them, and so that's why I got a bit delayed in setting up this link, because you cannot set up a link while you're on another group. It's one of those issues. So just give me a few minutes and we'll be live, and keep your questions ready. And if you want to ask them, you can ask them. Otherwise, we'll also take them in the chat box. So we'll see what can be done in that regard. Okay, so that's done. Okay, come back to the meeting and fine. So namaste and welcome to this midday satsang. Normally in our ashram, the satsang is more in the evening, but today we are having a special satsang because we wanted to have an opportunity that we utilize this day, International Day of Yoga, the 6th International Day of Yoga, that we use this chance to have a small discussion and deal with some questions. So before we, sort of get into it, I just want to, give you a little bit of my perspective on the International Day of Yoga. International Day of Yoga is a wonderful opportunity for so many of us in the field of yoga to come together, and we offer our gratitude to our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, who brought this idea at the United Nations and made it happen. And thanks to the Government of India, the Ministry of Ayush, and the Indian Yoga Association especially, this has become a mass movement with a huge amount of people participating all over the world, and really a wonderful event. At the same time, the question comes, when quantity increases, does quality decrease? And that is something that is always in my mind. And so what I thought is that we will start off this morning invoking the wonderful energies of the Guru Parampara, the wonderful Guru Parampara, and letting those energies guide us as we go forward. Om Tadparampariyaya Vidmahe Jnanalingeshwaraya Dhimahi Tanno Guruh Prachodayate. Om Yoga Maharshi Dr. Swami Geetananda Giri Guru Maharaj ki Jai. Fine. So let us go into today's day, and if there is somebody who wants to ask a question, you can have the first go. I have set it to mute all, but you should be able to unmute yourself if required. So who wants to have the first go with the questions? Soundarajan? Okay, fine. I think you should be able to unmute now. Just check it out. Yeah, perfect. Go ahead. Somehow I'm not hearing. 1 second. can we have the question again, Soundarajan? I thought there was a question there. Okay, fine. Tejasvi, were you looking at a question? I saw a question there, I think. Okay, fine. Fine. So until the questions come, when you have a question, maybe you can just type it in the chat if you want, or in the chat mention it, and we will. Yeah, no issues. We will try to see what we can do. So let's just go back to one of the first questions that comes to all of us. That International Day of Yoga, we are all coming together and we are all doing a lot of yoga. And the question comes, is yoga something you do or something you be? And what I'm often asked is, do you support this mass movement where everybody is out there showing what they're doing? Now this year it's different because everybody is at home. So it's yoga from home, yoga from family, which is the idea this time. And what I like to tell people is that there is nothing right or wrong here, because it is a matter that through this mass movement, at least the awareness of yoga is reaching people, and the performance of the practices is going to help people. So though it may not be the best message of yoga, which is already just the externalized part, it may be reinforcing the stereotyping of yoga as something done, externally. I think at the same time, what it is doing, it is helping people have an opportunity. It is helping people have an opportunity to get into yoga. So definitely, yes. We have a question from Garima. Okay. So one question is, how do we know our purpose of life? Well, lot of Swadhyaya. I think there's no other way. Swadhyaya is a very, very important component to understand your purpose in life. The Yantra teachings are part of that. And then very simple answer is common sense. Now, common sense is not so common, and they have written obituaries to common sense in the past. But I think common sense living is basically what yoga is all about. And that is why one needs to understand that, can we develop that viveka and vairagya, discernment and metacognition, they will help us a lot. The second one is about the question that is there on Surya Nadi and Surya Vedana. The effects are very similar, because what we have found in our research is that the nostril, you start breathing the inhalation nostril. So if it is right nostril inhalation, whether it is right nostril exhalation or left nostril exhalation, the benefits are very similar, at least physically and physiologically. Now, when we are talking about it as only right nostril, in and out, there will be definitely a much different effect when you think about the subtle energies, as opposed to right followed by left, which is the Surya Vedana. Because Surya Vedana gives you a chance to have a balance, which Surya Anuloma, or the Surya, which is just right nostril alone, doesn't give us. Then what is the importance of Guru in yoga studies? How is it possible to have Guru-Shishya relationship in modern times? See, whether it is ancient times or modern times, the relationship is the same. It is a relationship based on love, based on caring, and based on responsibility. So in ancient times, the Shishya had to be with the Guru in the Gurukula. Nowadays, it may happen over the internet for all we know. And social media may be the connection between the Guru and Shishya these days. So the medium of connection may be different, but the key component is a sense of trust, freedom, responsibility, and love between both components of that relationship, the Guru and the Shishya. So I think it can still be there. It may not be like in ancient days, and we have to realize that with times, many things change, but the essential prerequisite, trust, freedom, love, responsibility, gratitude. 5 aspects are the same. Okay. What is the opinion on yoga in colleges and universities? I think yoga in a university is not the real yoga at all. And I am very, very at risk here because our university offers courses. And those courses are going to benefit people, but the real yoga cannot be taught in a university framework. Because the attitude of the students coming to the university is usually, what is the minimum I need to study to get the grade I need to pass the exams and get my degree? Now, if that is the attitude, they will always take a small teaspoon to the ocean and think that the teaspoon of salt water is the ocean. And so they'll have a PhD which has more ignorance than knowledge in it. Now, if a person can also have contact with a living tradition, plus have an academic degree, that is the best combination. Because then you have that piece of paper that people want, plus you also have the real knowledge, the real yoga connection also. So I would say if you can get both, well and good. But I've met so many people, they have done diplomas here, there and everywhere. And basically, all they know is like YOGA is yoga. More than that, people don't know much. Very good question from Eridani, my beloved Eridani of Anand Ashram in New Zealand. And she says, why is pramana included as a vritti? Beautiful question. See, a vritti is not something negative. When we talk about the chitta vrittis, we have a tendency to make them seem negative. And I think we all do that. A chitta vritti is just a whirlpool of the subconscious, unconscious mind. So the whirlpool itself is not negative, but what happens is that once you get caught in that whirlpool, you lose yourself. And so the reason yoga says you have to transcend the vrittis is not because the vrittis are bad, but that you will not know yourself as long as you are caught in the vrittis. Now, pramana is cognition. I cognize that all of you are there in this meeting. Now, that is wonderful. But the moment I cognize, I am caught up with you. And the moment I'm caught up with you, I am not focusing on who I am, and I have been modified. So the moment you are seeing something, you have got involved. And that is why Patanjali says, when you do not control the chitta vrittis, when you don't transcend them, I am preferring nowadays to use the word transcend the chitta vritti rather than control them. They are going to be there. You transcend them, so they are not going to affect you anymore. They continue their job. The movie is still continuing. You have come out of the cinema theater. That is what chitta vritti nirodha is. You have not burned down the theater. You have not burned down the theater. The theater can be there for those who want to see that movie. You have realized it's a movie and walked out. It's as simple as that. So pramana is a vritti, and though it is positive in the sense of you can cognize, you are still involved in it, and you become what you see, you become what you perceive, and you become what is called vritti sarupyam itaratra. You take on the form of the vritti rather than, and you lose your own essential nature. That is why it is a vritti, and it is so important there. Ramdeep's question, is it important to have a fixed time for meditation? See, this is again a good question because, you know, we all want to have what is called Brahma Muhurta meditation, because our traditions tell us Brahma Muhurta, that early morning time where the energy of the cosmos is so strong, just before sunrise. It is a beautiful time for meditation, no doubt about it. If you can get up at 4 a.m., if you can sit for contemplation at that time, excellent. God bless you, and you know, may the divine bless you, no doubt about it. But just because you cannot get up at 4 doesn't mean you cannot meditate at other points of the day. Because meditation is a state of being. It's not something you do. What you do is concentrate. The only thing you can do is concentrate, which is dharana. Dhyana has to happen on its own. You cannot actually meditate. We use that word, but you cannot really meditate. You can concentrate. And when every moment in your life is a moment of focus, when you are concentrating, contemplating, and you're focusing your mind every moment of your life, every moment of your life is a meditation. So then you don't need a fixed time because every time is a moment of meditation. So I understand your question, and it would be nice if we could have some good time for sadhana. But what I have found is driving to work can be a meditation for me. Teaching a class can be a meditation for me. Singing a song can be a meditation for me. Listening to music can be a meditation to me, because meditation involves the capacity for you to become one with the object you are focusing on. That is what actual meditation, dhyana, is, where the object and subject have become one. So when you are focusing with deep interest, love, that comes alive, and it automatically becomes a moment of meditation for us. Tejasvi is asking a question about yoga in school curriculum. Well, the government of India keeps on sending circulars, and Navodaya Vidyalayas, the NCRT has a syllabus for yoga. Schools are supposed to have yoga teachers. And in places like Pondicherry, we may not have yoga teachers so much in government schools, but every private school has a yoga teacher, because they realize that it's an added bonus for the students, helps the students, and is a good advertisement for the school. So yes, it's happening. And I am a bit worried always when we say we must get yoga in schools. It's very nice. What type of yoga? And who will teach it? Because in the past, there have been some miserable experiments where they brought in people who had no idea about yoga, made a mockery of the teaching in school, and a whole generation of kids grew up hating yoga because of such teachers. So I think one thing we have to be very careful is the moment you say you must do, once you make it mandatory, once you make it compulsory, you are going to be creating a lot of the opposite antagonism. So I think what we need to do is ensure that people see the benefits more, and when they see the benefits, they are going to definitely adopt it. One of the questions that Madeline had asked me earlier by email was about the common predominance of male rishis in our culture and why there are no female rishis. And I've already sent you an email, Madeline, with some links to that, with a list of about 22 or 23 female rishis who were called rishikas. The rishika concept is very strong in India, but many people don't know it exists, because all over the world, the masculine aspects have always been in power. And so, it's never been showcased. But Indian culture always has had the equal amount of feminine representation. Just as we talk of Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, I would say equal importance is for Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati. No one will say Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva are greater than Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati. Nobody would dare do it, especially with Durga, because that's the end of them. So, Indian culture has had that balance. And rishis, there were rishikas. Agastya's wife, Lopamudra, was a rishika. Similarly, Gargi, Maitreyi. And in fact, some of these women outshone the men in debates. There are stories of Gargi used to defeat the male rishis in debates. In those days, they had a lot of high intellectual debates, and she used to defeat most of them. I think it was only Yajnavalkya who was able to defeat her in the debate. And that's why she married him. But it's very interesting, actually. Many of these rishikas were there. And this is why I think what has happened is just people in power have brought in that masculine aspect. And the world today is seeing that in COVID-19 times, countries headed by women are doing much better. And I think we men really, I see Eridani of New Zealand, really happy about that. I admire your New Zealand leader. She's just amazing. And from day one, took responsibility. took responsibility and said, we are going to do the right thing. And instead of, and very clear, where she had the capacity to say, I am not the medical expert. Here are the medical experts who will talk about it. I will listen, we will listen and do what is best. And that is such a different approach than most of the male leaders of the big countries. I don't even want to get into that, who think they know it all. So I think, yes, the wise women, the rishis, rishikas. There's another term called rishi patni. And that means the woman who is married to the rishi. Another word is rishi patni. And when we used to talk of Swamiji as a yoga rishi and yoga maharishi, Ammaji is a rishi patni. And even when Swamiji was alive, many times the title given to her was Rishi Patni Meenakshi Devi. And understanding that the rishi on his own is not enough, he needs the feminine energy to be with him. In Indian culture, we say Shiva, that auspicious energy of transformation, we say that Shiva is Shava without Shakti. Shava means a dead body, a corpse. And we say that even Shiva is a dead body if Shakti is not with him. So there's been a lot of understanding in Indian culture. But again, I often say, when religion got organized, God walked out. And the same thing happens when yoga gets organized. Real yoga walks out. And we often see this happening with bureaucracy coming into the yoga circles. It all becomes a power struggle, power, money, and making how many sheeple can you have in your student list, rather than how can you really spread the message of yoga. The real message of yoga is essential. A father is diabetic at 40, son was 10, he gets diabetes. What is the role in gene? This is called epigenetics. Epigenetics is the expression of your genetics. And I always remember my beloved professor of medicine, Dr. A.K. Das, who used to talk about the loaded gun analogy. And he said, genetics is like a loaded gun. Genetics is like a loaded gun. Whether the gun goes off or not depends on you pulling the trigger. And that is what epigenetics is all about. That you may have a genetic predisposition, no doubt about it. We all have it. But then whether those genes are going to manifest or not depends on you, which is where, coming back to our responsibility to create a healthy thought pattern, a healthy diet pattern, a healthy lifestyle, which is the lifestyle of yoga, which talks about achar, vichar, ahar, vihar, and vyavahar, the 5-pronged aspects that talk about healthy attitudes, healthy diet, healthy recreation, healthy rest, and healthy relationships. These all have to be healthy, because if they are healthy, those negative genes will never manifest. But if your diet is unhealthy, if your attitude is unhealthy, you are giving a fodder for the negative genetics to manifest. And this is again something that is often not understood. I remember meeting a young man who came and met me after a talk at a conference, and he said, Dr. Ananda, my grandma, and I'm living in the USA, my grandma has developed cancer. And so the doctors advised me to do a genetic profile, and they found that I have 92% chances of getting that cancer in the future. So they have advised me a preventive surgery now itself, where we remove a certain part of the intestine so that you won't get that intestinal cancer in the future. He said, what do you think? Huh? Imagine, they call it preventive surgery. Well, there's a famous actress who cut off her breasts to prevent herself from getting breast cancer. Okay? Now, she may not get breast cancer, but it doesn't mean other cancers are not going to come. Are you going to cut off your head because you think you're going to get a headache? Seriously, we are seriously, I don't know. Instead of changing ourselves, we want to find the easy way out. I told him, I said, yes, If you do the same things your grandma did, think the same way, eat the same way, and do all of that, not 92%, 100% you will get that cancer. But if you change your thinking, if you change your diet, if you change your lifestyle, there is no reason you need to get that cancer. So I think here it is very important to let people know this concept of epigenetics. And it is a very beautiful one. And this is also being taken forward by another concepts called Ayurgenomics, which is the genetics of Ayurveda. And it is based on what is called Prakriti, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and the 7 modalities of the Prakriti that are there in Ayurveda. And it's a very interesting concept, Ayurgenomics. Yes. Elena has a question. Why nowadays everything is made while staying quiet is called meditation? Well, that is because the word sells. The word meditation has become popular thanks to the last 50 years of transcendental meditation. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi took it to the West, and the Beatles got involved. The Beatles came to Rishikesh to his ashram 50 years ago, and everybody loved the Beatles music. So they said, the Beatles are doing meditation, we will do meditation. And so that word caught on. So 50 years, that word has been in popular circles, and advertising agents know that if a word is popular, you just have to tag your product to it and your product sells. And this is the same thing with yoga. Why do people do ridiculous things and call it yoga? Because that tagline of yoga sells. Now, if yoga didn't sell, they would not be tagging it. So my hope is that we get through this and that people stop tagging it to yoga, because yoga no longer sells. That is actually what I hope will come in that circle. Because what has happened is the misuse of the term meditation, and even by Indian yoga experts, traditional yoga experts who should know better, who cannot plead ignorance. And when people use words like yoga and meditation, it really hurts me, because, you know, meditation as dhyana is part and parcel of yoga itself. Every limb of yoga is a state of meditation. Each yama is a state of meditation. And we are trying to diverse it by saying yoga and meditation, yoga and pranayama. And that's even worse. Yoga and pranayama, I hear people say that. I don't know what they really mean, because yoga has been reduced to asana. So what they actually mean is asana and sitting quiet. Yoga and meditation, they mean asana and sitting quiet. That's actually what they mean. But because these are popular terms, catchy tagline, hashtag yoga, hashtag meditation, that is why this has come in. And I remember when I put out my initial DVDs, and, you know, I was giving different titles, the company who put it out, they said, you know, Dr. Ananda, that word yoga has to be in bold face on the DVD so that somebody walking into the store will see it and want to buy it. I said, but my DVD is on pranayama. I am teaching pranayama. My first DVD was 20 lessons in pranayama. I said, pranayama should be the word. They said, no, but nobody yet knows pranayama. They know yoga. So it should be yoga, and then in small letters, pranayama. This is how marketing works. And I didn't realize it. I have learned this in the last 20 years. Now, what has happened is meditation, which is a state of deep oneness of subject and object, has been reduced to quiet sitting. So if you sit with your eyes closed, you're meditating. No, you are just sitting with your eyes closed. Why do you want to, you know, make it sound different? You are sitting with your eyes closed. You may be thinking of some beautiful music. You are sitting with your eyes closed, thinking of some beautiful music. It's not meditation. And then, because people don't have the traditional techniques, they invent techniques. And so, imagine you are an eagle flying high in the sky. And as you go over the horizon, the green valleys below, that is visual imagination. That is, you know, beautiful imaginative thinking, which is Vikalpa, one of the vrittis. It's beautiful Vikalpa, and it is nice. It is better than going out and shooting people. Okay? So definitely it's keeping people from shooting each other. keeping people from harming each other. So well and good, but it's not meditation. It is imagination. And then they call this yoga nidra. Again, another term where the problem is yoga nidra. Just lying down with your eyes closed, yoga nidra. I'm like, seriously, these are amazing techniques, amazing teachings, and we have watered it down to meaning nothing. And I think this is why more and more I'm coming to the pattern of thinking that one needs to start using the actual yoga terms and stop even trying to translate it. Just say dhyana and let people find out what dhyana is. Because the moment you translate it to meditation, people think it is all this nonsense that is going on in the name of meditation. At least if you say dhyana, they realize it's something else. And you can say, well, the English equivalent is deep contemplation that leads you to a state of meditation. But then it seems too difficult, right? Compared to closing your eyes and sitting there. People go to sleep sitting up and think they're meditating. And many of them are big gurus also. Is 2020 burning karma for human race? I hope so. I hope so, because we human beings, we deserve to be burnt and raked over the coals for the way we have treated Mother Nature. We have abused, misused, and disused Mother Nature and this planet so much, we deserve a good spanking. And for me, 2020 is the year the human race is getting a spanking. I hope we can learn our lessons so that we don't need more punishment from Mother Nature, because seriously, we are still not out of this at all, I tell you. We are still not out of it. And I think unless we learn, it's not about face masks, it's not about hand washing, that's secondary. It's about respecting life. It is about respecting the planet. It is about gratitude for Mother Earth. It is about gratitude for life. And if that happens, I think a lot of things will change. Jyoti Priya, when one realizes sharing yoga life teachings is one's dharma, wants to do it, but doesn't want to get caught up in the yoga rat race, what do we do? Good question. Very good question. You know, I've often been told by people that, you know, I should, you know, charge more. I've been told that I have to go and start advertising all over the net so that people will get attracted to me. I have been given all this professional advice on how to enhance marketability, business ability. And you know what I usually tell them? There's a very nice place that starts with H and ends with L. And you are most welcome to go there if you want. That's actually what I tell them. See, I think the most important thing as a human being is to be ourselves. When you try to be something you are not, you're always going to be artificial. And even if you make money, even if you make name, you are not going to be at ease with yourself. You will not be able to sleep at night. You will not be able to look at yourself. You will not be able to face yourself. And that swadhyaya will not be able to be there. I think what is essential is to be yourself. Keep sharing. You know, in the last 85 days of sharing, this morning was my 85th non-stop online sharing in the morning. Now, if you had asked me last year, do you think you would do something like this, Ananda? I would have said no. I would have said no. But what I have found is that it is amazing what it has made me do. Did Dr. Ananda charge anything for it? No. Did the universe give me back? Yes. From unexpected sources, support has come in. Unexpected sources, support has come in. Least expected sources, it has come in. And at the same time, by sharing, I have grown. I haven't had to advertise. People have understood what teachings they need. People have started getting those teachings in the way they are ready for it. And tomorrow, if I visit those countries physically, I'm going to have a whole new group of people who are going to be there to meet me. When I go to places, there are going to be people to meet me who I would not have reached otherwise. Now, I didn't set upon this by saying, I'm going to start doing this so that more people will know about me and start hashtag Bhavanani, hashtag Ananda, hashtag real yoga, hashtag blah, blah, blah. I sometimes try hashtagging and then I'm like, seriously, this seems so stupid that I give up on it. We just have to be ourselves. We just have to keep sharing where we are. And with the internet today, it's up and out there. You put it up there. Put up your sessions on YouTube. Put up your sessions on Facebook. Let people see that you exist. Let people start realizing what you have to offer. Let people connect to what you offer. Those who resonate with what you offer will seek you out and find you. And those who don't, well, it's their problem, not yours. Because you are just being yourself. Now, if you are trying to be something else for the sake of others, you are going to attract people who are looking for that artificial you, not the real you. And then they are going to be disappointed at some time. You are going to be disappointed at some time. And is it all worth it? So I think what is important is, in this day and age, people should know you exist. Start sharing as much as possible. There are people out there sharing, caring, because for me, sharing is caring. And I think we just need to do it. And at some point, the tide turns. When Swamiji set up the Ananda Ashram, and as a kid, I remember so many times, Swamiji would be saying to Ammaji, Meenakshi, we are going to do this, and next month we are going to do this, and that. And Ammaji is like, Swamiji, the bank balance is zero. There's nothing in the bank. I have known zero bank balances many times in my life. Okay? Just because we have an institution, don't think that everything is rosy. Okay? During the COVID-19, we have tried our best to pay all our staff. We have made sure that those who went out of the way were paid extra for it. Those who couldn't come were given whatever they should have been given. We have done our best, and the institution has had zero income as an institution. And personal savings have gone into the institution. I don't know how the income tax authorities are going to even understand what we have been doing. But you know what? Every time Swamiji would do that, a couple of weeks later, somebody would buy 100 copies of his book. Suddenly 30 people would join the step by step. Something would happen. And suddenly the money would be there. The material resources would be there to do what he wanted to do. And my father taught me very young. I may have been 4 or 5. You're like, when you're 4 or 5, your father teaches you about accounting. Well, he taught me about the cosmic accounting. He said, Ananda, give for the sake of giving. Not because of what will come back. Give for the sake of giving, and what should come back will come back to you. The more you give, the more comes back. Not from the people you gave. That is the problem. We are always looking at single dimension. I gave them and I expect it back. Even in relationships. Just give for the sake of giving, it will come back. And that is why we need to do a lot of Brahma Mudra to know where it is coming back from. If you always lock like this, you say it never came back, and it's all here. And you have not turned, and so you don't know it. So important for us to have that opinion of looking around. And again, my father said, if your intent is pure, Saucha is purity, not cleanliness, purity. If your intent is Saucha, if your intent is pure, the universe will give you the resources to manifest what is to be. He said, you work on making your intent pure. That is why I keep on telling people, share for the sake of share. Don't share because somebody will know about you and blah, blah, blah. The moment, every time in my life I have done anything with vested interest, it has failed. Every time. So I've learned it very, very early. Every time I thought I'm going to do this because I'm going to earn some money, that project has failed. Every time I've thought I'm going to go on this tour and make this money, the tour has failed. It's just astonishing what the universe teaches you if you are ready for it. So one, let your intent be pure. Second thing he said, if you have an idea and the universe is not supporting it, you're not getting the resource, maybe your idea is just not in tune with what the universe wants. So be ready, have the humility to accept that maybe you don't know more and the universe knows more than you. I think this is so important. Because we say, I want it to be done. It's like all the people, you know, they run around saying, God never answers my prayers. Lot of people. God never answers my prayers. And I'm like, do you know? God does. God has answered every one of your prayers. And they said, no, 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 no. I say, yeah, one of the answers is no. And God just said no. But you know, when we say God is not answering my prayers, we mean God is not saying yes to everything I want. But God just said no. So he has actually, he, she, it, God is he, she, it, whatever is there, has actually answered your prayer by saying no. But because you don't want to hear the no, you say, God hasn't answered my prayer. Huh? We don't want to take no for an answer. If it is not in tune with the universe, so be it. That is where Ishvara Pranidhana comes in. The fifth of the niyamas, Atman Prasadanam, Ishvara Pranidhana. Be willing, have the grace, the humility to accept that there is something much, much bigger. There's a question from Dr. Rajalakshmi, yogic advice to frontline workers in pandemic situation. Seriously, I think what we have learned in this time is that the people who are the least paid, the people who were the least respected are actually the ones doing the most in this pandemic. And it is just, I tell you seriously, all the sports stars who are the richest people in the world and getting paid for kicking a ball around. And, you know, seriously, when you think about it, what can they do here? It is the people who are cleaning up the streets. It is the people who are disposing of that toxic waste. It is those people who are serving the people who are infected at the risk of losing their own life. These are the people who are standing up for humanity right now. And then the people who are, you know, staying away and not making a mess of it. And there are a lot of idiots out there who are making a mess of things. And they don't realize it, that what a mess they are making. So coming back to the frontline warriors, I think one issue that is very, very strong is that there's a lot of stress. And in fact, we have submitted a proposal on looking at the stress in healthcare workers and how yoga can help. Because what we feel is that the fear that is there, and it's a very rational fear, because you are working with people who are infected, you have the risk of getting infected, not just you dying, your family dying, losing everything you have built up for now. So the fear is very real. I think what is very important is to help them reduce the fear, the stress, the anxiety, and the exhaustion. We are seeing numerous photos of frontline workers and the way they are sleeping, just totally exhausted. Any place they can lie down because they're being overworked. Once you put on one of those PPEs, you cannot take it off for, you know, until your next shift. You cannot just take it off to go to the toilet if you want. You have to hold it all in. It is not. So I think very important is the attitude here, that you are being given an opportunity to serve humanity. You are being given an opportunity to make a difference on this planet for the human race. And that responsibility be in your mind. I think if that is there, there's going to be a very big difference, because you are going to say, fine, I'm going to do my best, like the soldier going to war. The soldier going to war knows they can most probably die and not come back. You have to have that equanimity, that sthita prajna. And I think yogic attitudes are important. I think we as a society must support such people. We must support such people. We must offer them our gratitude. We must support them in whatever way we can. If there are people who are on the front line, whose families are suffering because they are not able to come home, can we reach out and help them? Can we give them physical, mental, emotional, social, and financial support? I think it is so important. So I think here, along with the yogic advice, I think everybody has to play the part here. We cannot just say it's your job, you are the doctor, you are the nurse, so go out there and kill yourself. I think we have to really, really change our attitudes here a lot. I think a lot of deep breathing, a lot of relaxation is useful. Doing even simple Sukha Pranayama, breathing in and out for 6 counts, doing Brahmari Pranayama, the bee breath, it is amazing because it also enables your immune system to function much better. So teaching people to do the Brahmari, the bee sounding breath, or the pranava, which we do in our tradition, the ah, oo, and I think these are amazing practices that can be used. Ramdeep, your question on not eating and drinking during eclipse. See, all of these things have multiple dimensions, and usually in India, there was a lot of ideas given that have been regarded as superstition. But this whole COVID-19 sort of started around the last eclipse that was a major eclipse in December, if I remember. And there are some concepts here. One is there is a traditional concept, and traditional wisdom has always had its own rationality to it. Now, in modern context, we may not feel it has a rationality. That's a different. It's like when we talk about inauspicious times and auspicious times. You know, if I start doing that to airlines, airlines can never take off in time. They'll never be able to schedule the flights saying, oh, 9 to 10 is inauspicious, so the airport cannot have any flight taking off. You cannot do that. So I think one is the belief system is a very important component. So if there is a belief system involved, one has to realize that the power of belief has to be left alone. Because that belief system, when it is, sort of ridiculed, let me put it this way, when the belief system is ridiculed, the person actually gets very stressed about it because they have a certain belief system. And what I feel is that we may or may not have that belief system, but if somebody has it, let them live with it. Because by trying to say, oh, your belief system is wrong, you may be causing more damage than actually good. Now, as long as the belief system is not harming somebody. Now, if somebody has a belief system that says I have to kill one person per month, you cannot say, oh, you let them have the belief system because it is harming somebody else. So as long as a belief system is not harming anyone, as long as the belief system is not harming the individual, I think that belief system, if they have a belief in it, should be let to be there for that individual. Because there are concepts that during the eclipse time, the solar rays are changing. So the microbial life, it is more active than when the sun is fully there. There are concepts like that, lot of theories. I'm not going to say one theory is good or one is bad. Because it's easy to say, because science says, if I cannot see it, if I cannot perceive it with my senses, it doesn't exist. And that is the scientific way. So as far as science goes, only the tip of the iceberg exists because you don't see anything else. But we know the Titanic was not sunk by the tip of the iceberg. The whole of the iceberg sank the Titanic. So there are many things we don't know, many dimensions we don't know. So we personally may or may not do it. For me personally, during the solar eclipse, I do not mind having something to eat or drink. I do not stop myself. But if somebody says, I'm not going to eat today because of the solar eclipse, fine. If that is your belief system, you live by it, nothing wrong. And in Indian system, this whole idea, there are days you don't eat, there are days you don't drink, was like an intermittent fasting, which has become the fad today. That once in a week, my own mother-in-law, Devasena's mother, definitely I would say 10 days in the month she would not eat. Because either it was this day or that day or, this puja or that puja. And so 10 days a month she never ate. It was automatic intermittent fasting was going on as part of the culture. Now you say, no, fasting is not good and, this is all nonsense. And so the person starts eating those extra 10 days and now you have obesity, you have high cholesterol, you have heart disease. So I think we need to understand there are multiple dimensions and the belief, the role of belief, what is called the spiritual factor in healing, may be as much as 60 to 70%. So I think sometimes in the name of rationality, we may be a bit irrational. I personally do not attach much importance to it. That is a personal perspective. So I do not stay, I may not look up at the sun because they keep on saying you will lose your eyesight. So I'm afraid of that. because whether they are right or wrong, I don't want to risk my eyes. It's one of those, you don't want to harm yourself. So all I will say is, I may or may not accept a system. I may have belief system that somebody else doesn't have. So as long as the belief system doesn't harm somebody, as long as it doesn't harm the person or somebody else, let them have it if it helps them feel good, have a sense of wellness. I know, Eridani, I've already been talking of this. Kalki and coronavirus. I have already said this to a few people. I said COVID-19 may just be what our Indian culture called Kalki Avatara, which is the last of Vishnu's, Mahavishnu's incarnations. And this incarnation that comes at the end of time and destroys everything. To me, COVID-19 does seem to resemble a lot about Kalki. But anyway, I'm not talking too much about it, but yes, you picked up on something I've been thinking about. And again, what is an avatar? An avatar is an incarnation to change the way the world is functioning. That is actually what an avatar is. Every time we have said there's an avatar, the idea was to change, to transform what was happening in the world at that time. So if we think about that, COVID-19 is an opportunity for transformation of the human race. We have an opportunity. Whether we'll take it or not, only time will tell. And I have deep hope that we human beings will start reflecting a bit more. And we will, realize that all we need is less. And that we will start understanding that we don't have, already, even yesterday, a friend of mine, Subodh Tiwari, who heads Kaivaleda, my very dear friend, he was talking about a government official telling him that I realize now we don't need to call you guys all the time to Delhi for meetings, that we can just have it on Zoom. That itself is a big change, because you have 22 people from all over the country traveling by air and cars and trains to get to Delhi for a 2-hour meeting to make some decisions that can be done by Zoom, by electronic email. And suddenly you have just saved so much of this planet's resources. So yes, fine. The thing is that we have suddenly realized there are other ways to do it. And at the same time, there's nothing like, as Amaji says, there's nothing like the smell of a, envelope as you open it and you read a letter. There are certain things that are there, but you do not need bills to come hard copy paper, okay? You don't need all these advertisement junk mail that comes in hard copy paper, okay? So, there can be a big transformation. And if that transformation occurs, I think in retrospect, I would say that yes, COVID-19 may be Kalki Avatara in retrospect if human race transforms. Because the whole verse in the context is Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutana dharmasya tadatmanam shujanmaham pavitranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. That I come back again and again from time to time for the sake of setting right what has gone wrong with humanity. And well, if COVID-19 does that, well and good. Because, even if say, even if 40% of humanity were to change its way of living and change its way of thinking, the world could be such a better place. It's still a hope, because human beings keep astonishing me with, what we do. What we do is still astonishing, and I don't even want to get into that. And yes, as Soumya has said, people who followed Facebook Lives came to your classes after the lockdown. Yes, it happens. And see, the thing is, you just have to put things out there. Eridani's question, Savitarka to Nirvichara Samadhi. The sound of a rattle and creeping out of the door. That's a very nice one. Very much, I would say yes. Because the Vitarka, Vichara, Sananda, Sasmita, these 4 first levels of Samadhi are all based on a cognitive process. And then suddenly you have to go to a trans-cognitive process. You have transcended the cognitive process. And yes, it's a big leap actually. And I think that as long as you are in that room, the cognitive process is happening. And then you leave that room and the next level is there. It's like in the Matrix when you had the door and you go through the door and you go into a new place. It's something like that. As long as you're in that room, you are going from gross to subtle. So from gross to subtle, you are going. It's like when we are guiding people in relaxation and other things. What you'll find is that automatically, you first start off with the commands, focus on your breathing, breathe in, breathe out. And then after some time, you listen to yourself, your voice becomes softer and softer. And then you start, as you go in, you start contemplating the inner being. You don't go and say, as you go in, contemplate the inner being. You don't do that. And in the beginning, when you want to tell them, no, breathe in, breathe out, lift your hand, lower your hand. You need that great expression at a gross level. This is why people who want to meditate without ever working with the body or the breath, how is it going to happen? You first need to work with the body. You need to work with the gross. You need to work with the breath. Then you can work with the mind. Because the mind is so subtle, you are trying to work with the subtle without ever working with the gross. So I think it is very, very important here that when you are in that room, you start off, that gross rattle and then, the silence and then the creeping of the room. I love that. You should do one of your drawings. For those of you who don't know it, IDY2020 has done an amazing series of yoga cartoons. And did you ever finish the Yoga Sutra cartoons? You did? Oh my God. Now please resend me that because it was amazing. She used to, after my classes, come up. Oh my God, seriously. Those were amazing cartoons of the Yoga Sutras. Yeah, it's a beautiful skill you have. Huh? Yes. Nada Pranayama, Bastrika. Yes, very true. Good, Balaji. See here, Bastrika, when you are blasting out, there is a chance of the breath traveling and the fluid secretions traveling. So yes, if you are in an potentially infective situation, these are not going to be done. Definitely keep your mask on and breathe in Sukshma Pranayama, subtle breathing as like a butterfly. And don't take deep breaths when you're in an infected situation. It's like when I'm driving behind a truck with smoke, I'm not going to take a deep breath. In fact, sometime back, the air in Delhi was so polluted that someone said, the yoga teacher teaching pranayama could be accused of manslaughter. Because the air is so polluted. If you teach pranayama, you're accused of manslaughter because you are making people breathe in that polluted environment. I think there is a place for everything. Nada pranayamas, the Bastrika, are very useful. Keep it in a safe situation, not in a situation where infection is possible. Anyway, I just thought this morning when I got up this morning, I just had this idea after the morning session where Devasena and Divya joined me for the yoga day. This yoga day, the theme is yoga at home, yoga with family. So we felt rather than me just giving my 85th session, that we could have, the family together. Anandraj was going to come and then he just felt he needed to sleep a bit more. So I said, okay, fine, no issue. You can always come in later. But then suddenly I just had this thought. I said it would be a nice occasion because I realized other than Kaustub's event, which was from 11 to 12, I had not signed up for anything. So I said, okay, fine. Let me meet my yoga family and share some thoughts. And we will see how we can make this happen a bit more. because as you all know, for me, sharing is caring. Yoga is my life. Yoga is my love. And so, when I can share with people, I think, it really makes the day worthwhile. And I hope I've answered all the questions that came up in the chat. Eridani, I will send you that list of Rishikas. So I had sent it to Megan, and I will send it to you. And other than that, I think I covered most of the questions. There's one new message. Is it a question? I'll just check it up. Okay. So thank you for being with me. You are the first cohort of Ananda's e-Satsangas. So you can feel happy to be part of it. It's the International Day of Yoga. It is my dear Divya Priya Bhavanani's birthday, the birthday of Sri T.K.V. Deshikachar, who has given me such beautiful love in my life, such blessings that have really empowered me from within in my life of yoga. And also, it is the day of International Day of Music, and it's also Father's Day. So many things came together. I said, I cannot let it go without having a session with all of you. Thank you for being with me. I'm just going to conclude with the Loka Samasta. Join me. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Thank you so much. Till next time, whenever it is.